I'll say colloquialize.
Las 6. Y hola, y muy buenas tardes. Tenemos luz. Wow, we've got lights. So I cannot say buenas noches yet. By the middle of the class, I'll be able to say that. Muy buenas tardes. Espero que ustedes estén bien. ¿Cómo están ustedes? ¿Bien? ¿Todo bien?
Bien.
Todo bien. Maravilloso. Ok. Bueno, vamos a empezar esta noche. Esta noche vamos a practicar con las últimas fotos de la semana pasada. We're going to practice with the last few photos from last week. But before we jump into that, I want to do an opening video. We had some affirmative and negative phrases last week, and we're going to open with some negatives that you often hear, but maybe you didn't think so much about word placement. So we're going to open with that because it's some kind of fun stuff to use. We're going to review our article about la nieve en Mallorca, the snow in Mallorca. Wow. Not only where you were in Europe, yeah, way down south it was snowing down there. And so that'll be our second moment. We'll see if you had any questions about the videos, and then we'll do our little practice here. Okay. Bien. ¿Y dónde está? Ok, momentito. Tengo que arreglar la posición de las pantallas. I've got to adjust my screen positions a little bit here. Vamos a empezar con un video. Y en el video hay varias maneras de usar combinaciones de ni y ni siquiera. Y es útil, as we had some things on affirmative phrases last week. We've got some more, and negatives too. We've got some affirmatives. And I have to skip in the middle because there's a little commercial thing in the middle, which we don't really want to deal with. But I will leave the subtitles up so you can see as she is speaking. And she's going to show you some patterns of words. But nuestro amigo Cody, our friend Cody here, is going to, this is not his normal persona for the first 5 seconds, and you'll be able to tell. He's kind of acting like a guy like on the street. Okay.
¿Me das tu número?
Hey, give me your number. Hola, nena, ¿me das tu número?
Ni lo sueñes.
Ni lo sueñes.
No
Que
such luck.
no, es una manera de decir no such luck. Ni lo sueñes. Don't even dream about it. Ni lo sueñes. Decimos en inglés, in your dreams, ¿verdad? Bueno, claro. Pero en español una manera es decir algo negativo. Ni lo sueñes. Don't even. Ni es como don't even dream about it. We're going to skip the promotion, even though I know they make some money off of that. Okay.
Hey, Carolyn, are we recording?
Oh, perdón. Sí.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Grabando. Sí. I can see my blinking light. Sí. Okay.
Oh, okay, we didn't have to
Digamos
click.
Can you see her on the screen? See?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Bien. See. Yeah, we are recording because I've got my screen is blinking. That means it is recording.
La función principal de la palabra ni es conectar varios elementos de una negación. Puede significar algo así como y no o y tampoco. Escucha, mi amiga Laura no fuma ni bebe.
No fuma ni bebe. Mi amiga no fuma ni bebe. Okay. And here, I want you to notice she's going to highlight her neat words. It's kind of hard for me to do both of these. I'll try to take that off so you can see her bigger subtitles. there's going to be something in here she's going to show you with word order, which will be important. A veces se dice la palabra no enfrente del primer verbo y la segunda palabra negativa, que es ni, en la segunda posición con el segundo verbo. A ver, ¿sí? Pero otras veces ella va a usar ni dos veces. Y la posición de las palabras es importante. So the word position is important here. Sometimes you'll hear ni used by itself, but there'll be a no first, and sometimes two ni's, and she's going to show you the word order.
O sea, no fuma y tampoco bebe.
And the y tampoco is just a substitute for the ni. No fuma ni bebe means the same thing as no fuma y tampoco bebe. She doesn't smoke, neither does she drink. Okay, she doesn't smoke, she doesn't drink either. So you can use just the word ni, or you can sub in the y tampoco there.
No hace ninguna de las dos cosas. Aquí empezamos la oración con no fuma. Y luego agregamos ni para decir y tampoco. No fuma ni bebe. Ahora escucha este ejemplo. Mi amiga Laura ni fuma ni bebe.
And there we've doubled up on the ni words, yeah? Okay, so, es posible decir, mi amiga Laura no fuma ni bebe. También es posible decir, mi amiga Laura ni fuma ni bebe, okay? Los dos son correctos. Both ways are correct. But she's going to show you a word order that doesn't make sense. Sí, Esteban.
I wouldn't say that. I know it's right. I would say, Laura no fuma o bebe. Is there anything wrong in using o? In lugar de ni?
Some people would say yes. Some people would say no. Sometimes you do hear it, but it's good if you start off with a negative idea to continue keeping a negative word in
No,
there. Yeah.
Okay.
And
thank you.
and ni is the negative, like paired up. It's like a mirror word for o, but in the negative sense. Does that make sense? See?
Oh, yeah.
¿Tiene sentido? Okay, bien.
Thank you.
Okay, a ver.
Aquí empezamos la negación de una vez con ni. ¿Cuál es la diferencia? Los dos ejemplos son negaciones, pero cuando empezamos una negación con ni, estamos dando la impresión de hacer más énfasis y de ser más tajantes, o sea, más directos. Ojo, atención.
So a double ni is kind of being more firm in the negation. Okay, that's what she's saying.
Porque algo que sonaría raro sería decir ni fuma, no bebe.
So what she's showing you here is that if you switch the order of the no and the ni, that doesn't sound right. That like is out of kilter. Okay, for a normal word order. So no fuma ni bebe is okay, but you can't take the no and the ni and just switch their position. Ni fuma, no bebe. Nobody says that. So just be aware that word order is a thing.
O ni fuma, no toma. Si vas a usar ni, o lo usas después del no, o lo usas desde el principio y hasta que acabes. Nada de ni fuma, no toma. Eso no, ¿ok? Bueno, vamos con otro ejemplo. Mi mamá no descansa de día ni de noche. Mi mamá no descansa ni de día ni de noche.
Now, both of those are correct. But notice, if you lead off with a no, you can put in a ni, but you can't put the ni first and then have a no, right? If you put the ni first, it should be ni. Okay? Bien? Ni de día, ni de noche.
Ahora escucha este otro ejemplo. tengo que hacer mercado. No tengo ni leche, ni aceite, ni sal, ni nada.
Ah, bien, sí. And yeah, the more negative, right? That whole thing of English of a double negative is a positive. Spanish doesn't look at that. So if you're going to be put in lots of ne's, that's fine. You know, you're kind of making a mental list and you're making, oh my gosh, nothing, ni nada. As negative as you want to make
Aquí
it.
ya
Okay.
estamos conectando más de dos elementos. Estamos en ese caso haciendo énfasis en lo que no hay, en la negación de la que estamos hablando. Aparte de conectar dos negaciones, también podemos usar ni para exagerar o para dar incluso más énfasis a una situación de negación. Mejor dicho, estamos diciendo como esto es el extremo a lo que se puede llegar.
So we can use ni to like bump something up to the most negative possible. That is a
Y en
use of
ese
ni.
caso vas a ver que no estamos conectando nada. Escucha, no dijo nada, no dijo ni mu. Ojo, porque esta
Ni
es
mu.
una expresión muy frecuente. No dijo ni mu, significa que no dijo nada. Ni
Ni mu. No sé si es algo de Colombia o por todas partes. I don't know if this is a Colombian thing or all over, but ni mu, yeah. No dijo ni mu. I didn't didn't say diddle squat, didn't say a single thing, yeah. Yeah, ni mu. Not a thing.
siquiera mu. No sé cómo se hace. No tengo ni idea.
And that one you've heard, of course, a lot of times. No tengo ni idea. Es una frase muy popular. No tengo ni idea. I have no idea. Otra vez.
Esa es otra expresión frecuente. Toma nota. No se dio cuenta. No se dio ni cuenta.
And that is just making darse cuenta to realize more negative, the most negative. So, no se dio cuenta, he did not realize, en inglés, no se dio cuenta, no se dio ni cuenta. He didn't realize in any way whatsoever. Okay, bien. Ni cuenta makes that just super, super emphatic. Somebody's like putting all kinds of exclamation marks after the idea, right? Ni cuenta. Okay.
Cuenta. No se dio ni cuenta. Aquí estamos haciendo énfasis en que no notó absolutamente nada. No compraron nada. No compraron ni uno.
No compraron nada. They didn't buy anything. No compraron ni uno. They didn't buy even one. Okay, so ni uno means not even one, which is, of course, would be the same thing as saying nada, but it's just making that idea of nada extremely, extremely negative. Okay.
Ni uno. Otra vez, énfasis. Listo. Ahora hablemos de un grupo de palabras que es ni siquiera. Cuando decimos ni siquiera, estamos diciendo que una situación no logró, no alcanzó o no cumplió con lo mínimo que uno espera.
Okay. Ni siquiera es loosely en inglés. Es como not even. Okay. Y no logró, didn't do it. No alcanzó, didn't reach to that point. No cumplió, did not fulfill it. Didn't do even the tiniest part of what you're talking about. Ni siquiera. Okay.
De esa situación. No estoy lista para la fiesta, ni siquiera sé qué vestido ponerme. Manuela está muy brava conmigo. No me habla, no me escribe, ni siquiera me mira.
No me habla. She's not talking to me. No me escribe. She's not talking to me. Or excuse me, she's not writing to me. Ni siquiera me mira. She's not even
looking at me.
Yeah, she's, también decimos en inglés, she's not so much, yeah, she won't even do any, yeah, she doesn't so much as look at me, okay? But doesn't even look at me, ni siquiera me mira.
Cuando hablamos, es muy frecuente que los hablantes nativos no digamos siquiera cuando queremos decir ni siquiera. Por ejemplo, en esta situación, el candidato ni sabía cuál era el salario mínimo.
And
Didn't
some
see.
people may drop the siquiera part and just put in the ni. El candidato ni sabía, didn't even know. You can still say ni siquiera sabía cuál era el salario mínimo. It's still correct. But some people do drop the siquiera part.
Mi mamá está tan enojada que ni me mira. No la quiere ver ni en pintura.
Oh, ni en pintura. Esto es muy común, muy coloquial. No la quiere ver ni en pintura. She doesn't even want to set eyes on her. Ni en pintura means not even in a picture. And when you don't want to see somebody ever again at all, you don't even want to see their foot leaving the door, it's ni en pintura, ni en pintura. Doesn't even want to see her, not even a picture of her. That's what the ni en pintura means. You don't want to see so much as a drawing that represents that person. Don't even show me that. That's how much I don't want to see that person. Ni en pintura. Doesn't want to see him at all.
Error frecuente. Ojo, ni siquiera no me mira. Ni siquiera no hay leche.
No.
Ni siquiera no sé qué cocinar. Cuando decimos ni siquiera, ya estamos diciendo no, pero con más énfasis. Por eso es mejor evitar la combinación ni siquiera no. No es necesario. Ni siquiera me mira. Ni siquiera hay leche.
Yeah, there isn't even milk. Yeah, ni siquiera hay leche.
Ni siquiera sé qué cocinar. Y finalmente tenemos el ni enfático, como cuando decimos ni lo sueñes o "Ja, ni loca o ni pensarlo.
Ni pensarlo. Don't even think it. Don't even think about it. Don't even think, don't even have that. Yeah, don't have that in your mind. Ni pensarlo.
O ni te cuento. Aquí estamos combinando ese ni con una frase para indicar que no estaríamos dispuestos por nada del mundo a hacer algo. Por ejemplo,
Hola, nena. ¿Me das tu número?
ni lo sueñes.
Oye, cuéntame, ¿qué pasó con Juan y Marcela?
Ni te cuento. Bueno, ¿quién se imaginaba que esta palabrita de 2 letras tenía tantos usos? Levanten la mano. ¿Nadie? Ok, entonces en ese caso vamos con el quiz. Mucha suerte. ¿Cómo se usa ni siquiera en español? ¿Para expresar una acción negativa? ¿Para expresar una acción positiva? Para expresar una acción negativa de manera aún más fuerte que solo con ni. La respuesta
Sí.
es C.
Ujú.
Usamos
Sí.
ni siquiera para expresar una acción negativa de manera aún más fuerte. Siguiente pregunta. ¿Qué significa la frase no tengo dinero, ni siquiera $1? Tengo dinero, pero no tengo $1. No tengo nada de dinero. Tengo algo de dinero, pero no tengo $1.
B.
Be.
La respuesta
Be.
es no
Nada de
tengo
dinero.
nada de dinero. 0. ¿Qué significa la oración? Él ni siquiera me miró. Él me miró y me habló. Él no tuvo la cortesía de mirarme, él me miró y se fue. La respuesta es B. Él no tuvo la cortesía de mirarme.
Sí, él ni siquiera me miró. He didn't even take a look at me. He didn't even cast his eyes my way. Ni siquiera me miró. He didn't even look at me.
What's cortesía?
No me miró. He didn't look at me. Ni siquiera me miró. He didn't even look at me. He didn't so much as look at me. Yeah. ¿Por qué decimos en inglés? He didn't so much as look at me. No sé. Yeah. These are just sort of standard things, but ni siquiera is a great thing for elevating something to the worst level of negative you possibly can.
Ni siquiera me miró. ¿Qué significa la oración? Ni siquiera sé su nombre. Sé su nombre. No sé su nombre. Sé un poquito sobre su nombre.
B.
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 La respuesta es no sé su nombre.
Sí, ni siquiera sé su nombre. I don't even know. I don't so much as even know his name or her name. Lo que sea, whatever it may be, ¿no?
¿Qué significa la oración? Ni siquiera tengo un lugar donde dormir esta noche. ¿Tengo un lugar para dormir esta noche? ¿Tengo algún lugar para dormir esta noche? ¿No tengo un lugar para dormir?
C.
La respuesta es no tengo un lugar
Sí.
para dormir.
Ni siquiera tengo un lugar. I don't even have a place to sleep in or to sleep at. Sí, esta noche, tonight.
Bueno, espero que les haya gustado el quiz.
Okay, y eso es, that's the end of that. Eso es todo. Bien. Muy bien. Vamos a ver. The ni doubled up and ni siquiera. Ni is a very Monty Python sounding sort of phrase. Teenagers used to love that. If they were Monty Python fans, you go, oh, it's like the Knights from Ni. Yes, it is like that. And they never forgot because they had that great mnemonic device, uppermost in their minds. Okay. Vale, bueno, vamos a ver la siguiente, next thing up. We're going to see how much of this you were able to look up with only looking up 3 words, how much you could figure out. And vamos a ver, vamos a repasar, de verdad, el artículo de la nieve en Mallorca. Y Mallorca, en caso de que no sepan, for those of you who might not know, Mallorca es una isla en el Mediterráneo, una isla que pertenece a España. It belongs to Spain. It is a very tropical island. This is like a hot spot tourist place, right? For the poor, cold Northern European folk. Well, not poor. You have to have some money to go to Mallorca. Mallorca is a playland. It is a wonderful, warm, and great spot to vacation. And everybody thinks of it as a real paradise of warm weather. So, and the one, I think they use all Fahrenheit when they're talking here, because this was written for an American audience. La nieve cubre Mallorca. What does what to Mallorca?
Snow covers.
Snow covers Mallorca. La isla vacacional española. The Spanish
vacation island.
vacation island, conocida por el sol todo el año. Better known
Sunny all year.
on account of or because of sun all year long. conocida por el sol, known for its sun or known for the sun all year long. But we could also think of it as this por is the because of por, known because of its sun all year long. Okay. Y la fecha de este artículo es el 28 de febrero. Entonces, la semana pasada incluyeron por lo menos una foto, sí, y es bastante nieve, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Es
sí.
bastante nieve, wow. Es como ver el norte de Arizona o en Colorado o así, sí. Bueno, ok. A ver, vamos a ver, and I want to take this off screen for just a moment. What are the 3 words you chose to look up?
I looked up apuntar, even though my guess was that it was like a point or aim, but I thought there was some secret meaning and I was wrong. So
And
I
you were
worked through the
so
word.
sí, apuntar. Apuntar es con,
Yeah.
apuntar, sí.
And then I did advertencias, which is warnings. That's the thing that's on all the electrical poles. that I put
Ajá.
down. And then I did aumento en el nivel. I have no idea what that. To me, it looked like it all went together, and it was increase in the level of.
Sí, okay, eso, bien. Now, this is a good point, Juanita. When you see a word like apuntar and you think, I already know punto. I wonder, and it's punto, yeah.
Yeah. Point
And you think,
is, yeah.
if it's turning apuntar, if it's turning it into a verb, might it be something that is like going straight that, yeah. Apuntar can mean a number of things. Apuntar, it can mean to take notes. It can mean to, take aim. It can mean a few things. Yeah. Apuntar could mean to take a note as well. So that might have been a throwaway, but you were playing it safe. Advertencia, however, is what we would really call a false cognate. So that was a good one to choose. Advertencia looks like an English word, which would be
Advertisement.
but it
yeah.
doesn't mean that at all.
No.
Yeah. It's got a very different meaning. Advertencia is a what, Juanita? Is a
It means warning.
it's a warning.
Yeah.
So advertencia is one of those few cognates. It's known as a true, false cognate. It
Mhm.
looks like advertisement, but it doesn't mean that. Okay. And nivel, sí, nivel is level,
Mhm.
a level or range. Yeah. Okay. Bien. Otras palabras, other words that you looked up. Anybody have some different words they looked up? Susana, we haven't seen you in a while, Silvita.
I couldn't figure out Nevada. I kept looking at it and it's snowfall.
Now,
I wasn't exactly
what part of
sure.
that might have suggested to you, however?
The NEV part.
There you go. Because it
snow.
sounds like a word which is
Snow. Yeah.
snow. Yeah. So it has to do. Okay. So this is an important thing. It has to do with snow.
Mhm,
Something about the snowfall,
mhm.
right? Okay. And that's probably close enough put together with the photos and the other parts that you could guess that it was talking about.
Snow. I kept getting distracted with the state of Nevada. It just kept coming into my head, and I'm like, no.
That state name is taken from the Spanish.
Probably, yeah.
Somebody was like around a mountain and said, "Woo, snowy mountains." Yeah.
Mhm.
And I guess people who live there like to call it Nevada, and they don't like to use Nevada. And I have a real hard time thinking in anything other than, So I guess, I don't go to Nevada very often, con mucha frecuencia, no. Okay, bien. Otras palabras, other words that you looked up.
Las ráfagas.
I looked-
Ráfagas?
Oh, sí,
I couldn't figure that
ráfagas.
one out at all.
Gus. I looked it up.
I looked it up too, yeah.
Sí,
Gus.
ráfagas son como, ¡woo! Sí,
Linda.
es como viento, pero viento intenso.
Mhm.
Hace viento, it's windy. Ráfagas, sí. Viento intenso. Como huracán. Sí. Bien. Ok, vale, magnífico. Y más, Susana.
And the last one was los patrones, patterns. For some reason, it was in the same paragraph, I think. And I just couldn't figure that one out. Patterns,
Patrón-
no patterns or something.
Es interesante. Patrón has a couple of meanings.
Mm.
Just like our word bark has more than one definition, that word patrón has more than one meaning. Most of us who learned Spanish first time out hear the word patrón used as
Alcohol.
Beer.
well,
Isn't it?
tequila.
Yeah, tequila. Yeah.
Okay.
right.
No estaba pensando en eso. I was not thinking about that. But yeah, most people, like, let's say you watch old Westerns, you know, you hear somebody saying in an old Western movie, something about, ooh, patron, you know, a boss. And patron is
Oh.
boss. So most people learning Spanish for the first time first hear that word patron as the word boss, like jefe. But patron is also a pattern, which kind of looks like pattern a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, looks a little bit like that. So patron has more than one definition. Es buena palabra, a good word to look up. Okay, ¿qué más? ¿Qué más? What other words? Patricia, you've got some?
Yeah, I didn't get the colico, the verb. I had to look that one up. It's colicar, I guess. It's on the first page in the second paragraph.
Mhm.
Oh,
Meteorologist.
colocó.
Colico?
Okay, so
Colico.
now wait, let's take a look there. It's a verb,
Right. I could tell that.
and the o at the end of the verb tells you it's pretérito.
Mhm.
And if you look at, is it an AR or an ER or an IR verb with an ending like, oh, it's from an AR verb, you automatically know from that o ending, pretérito, it's preterite.
Mhm.
The o con acento, the o with an accent comes from an AR verb. It's got to be an AR verb. So to look that word up, really, you need to know colocar,
Right.
the verb it comes from.
I could figure that much out. I just didn't know what it meant.
Sí, colocar, sí. And that one, really hard to see from context.
Mm.
Yeah. Colocar es como un sinónimo para poner.
Mm.
Like a synonym for poner. Can be used in that way. Okay, ¿qué más? Patricia, Pat, what other things do you have in there?
The other one I wasn't quite sure of was the verb instar. It's from istaran. I wasn't sure if that was supposed to be instruct.
Mhm.
I just was curious, so I looked instar.
Sí, ¿y qué es instar, Patricia? What?
It said urge, like to urge the residents.
Urge, right. To push
I
somebody
thought that's what it
towards,
meant.
yeah.
I didn't know it meant
Urge,
instruct.
sí, es correcto. That's correct. So if we use it in the past, it's a regular verb. It happens to be a regular verb. You may not know that, but it is. Okay, so instar, you'll conjugate like any other verb. Okay, bien. Otra, another?
The other one was what you already said with the
Oh,
witness.
okay.
So that was the other one, the rough.
Bien.
rough-
Okay. I'm not any other three that somebody wants to bring up that you looked up.
Well,
But sí, Federico.
there were two that I thought, well, there's a whole bunch I didn't get, but there were two that I thought would be fun to know. And that's really that's the reason I picked them up. Vigente, 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 in force, and then evitar. I looked at that and I went, God, I certainly ought to know what that is. And that was kind of nice to know. That's simply avoid, as I understand it.
Ujú, eso es, sí.
The-
Muy bien.
The one that I guessed at was the bloqueadas in algunas zonas. So I guess it was blocks, BLOQUEADAS.
Okay,
First paragraph.
sí.
And, you know, contextually, you know, it's like, well, it's got to be blocking, you know, but that was just basically, you know.
Right. Now, and that's exactly the way you should be looking at that. So let's take a look, because what you said, Federico, is exactly correct. The way to look at this is try to definitely look for cognates, but that advertencia one was well, that could trip you up big time. And you know, look for things that just that makes sense. I think from context, if it's a cognate, it'll be helpful to you. So Mallorca, a popular Spanish vacation destination, better known for its beaches and turquoise sea, right? Se cubrió de nieve, was covered with snow. Se cubrió, there is kind of a fake, it's a way of doing passive voice. I hope we get a little bit of time to talk about that today. Kind of a passive voice thing that is acceptable in writing. Se cubrió, was covered in snow. And cuando los vientos del Ártico, when the
Arctic winds.
the winds from the Arctic trajeron, here we've got a past.
Brought
Yeah,
ice.
brought, yeah. So brought all this freezing mess to its coast. See, La Tormenta Julieta. Now they name these, even if they're not hurricanes. They do that with snowstorms here in the States too. La Tormenta Juliette es nombre francés. Provocó nevadas, and nevadas are snowfalls, right? Provocó nevadas en toda la isla. That's the chunk you should be taking, in the whole
island.
In all of the island, but we would probably say in the whole island. El domingo, it tells you on what day, on Sunday. And then we have a quote, right? This is a reported speech verb. Dijo is reported speech, said. Okay. And when we read things in the newspaper, they'll say, there was an accident on the 101, said the police from Scottsdale. So, you know, yeah, dijo just said la agencia, the Spanish Meteorological Society. That is even a mouthful in English. AEMET, I do not know what that all stands for. Agencia Española de Meteorología, no sé. And I don't know what the ET is, but it would be like we have NOAA, right?
Yeah.
We have NOAA. Okay, this is their NOAA. And that's all you need to do. But when you see things abbreviated, you know what that is. Las zonas montañosas, the
Mountain zones.
Mountainous zones, or we would say mountainous areas. Zonas can be used for areas, particularmente en el norte de la isla, particularly in the
northern part.
North. Sí, se vieron especialmente afectadas. Yeah, this is again kind of a passive voice thing. Look to be, seem to be particularly affected, right? Con carreteras bloqueadas. Here we got your word, Federico, with blocked highways en algunas zonas, in some areas. Bien, sí, y la foto con mucha nieve aquí, y aquí colocó put or placed. Ahmed colocó partes del país bajo una advertencia esto es difícil, especialmente para mí. Meteorológica. Roja. Oh,
A red warning.
yeah.
Red
A
flag.
red warning. Yeah. So there, NOAA put parts of the country under a red alert, right? We would say a red alert, a red weather alert. And now they tell us why. This word por here means because of or on account of. Okay. So when you translate the idea of because of, a lot of people beginning in Spanish want to say porque de, and you can't translate that word for word because somebody would be totally confused. If you want to say because of, in many, many cases, what's going to work is just going to be por by itself. Instead of saying porque, cut off the que from porque, right? Por, and then tell the cause. A reason for using por is to show cause. That's why. So it's under red alert. Why? This answers the why question. On account of strong winds. And the warning remains in effect. In place. Yeah. Vigente is a word you would not necessarily know offhand, but permaneció, it remained in effect. And in English, we many times say remain in effect. So you might be able to guess it maybe, but not from just looking at it, but from the context. And a partir del martes por la tarde, until up to Tuesday afternoon. Con velocidades, you can guess that one easily, de viento pronosticadas. Prognostications are good guesses. Yeah. So with wind speeds predicted, and they gave us the miles per hour. Uy. Hace mucho viento, hacía mucho viento. It was really windy. La isla también podría experimentar, and here experimentar doesn't mean experiment. It means experience. Yeah. Experimentar is used to say to experience something. The island also could experience. The podría comes from poder. You might have been able to guess that. It is a specific verb tense of poder, which indicates could as a hypothetical, could potentially experience olas oceánicas de más de 26 pies, could experience ocean waves of more than 26 feet. And we use pies, feet, with amber warnings put out for strong rains. Lluvias is just the noun form of llover. Okay. We're turning llover into lluvia, the noun meaning rains. Okay. Local media informed, informed of cortes de energía. Yeah. So energy cuts, meaning outages. Exactly. Exacto. Energy outages en varias áreas de la isla como resultado de la nieve, as a result of the snow. Y las condiciones dificultaron. And we're changing this into, we're making dificultaron. It's a verb. Es un verbo. You can see aron. Es pretérito. Conditions made something difficult. So what did they make difficult? They made difficult what kind of
working?
repair
repair
work? They made repair work difficult. Okay. And dificultar is often used as a verb to say something was made difficult, something made something difficult. Meanwhile, mientras tanto, los servicios de emergencia instaron. Here we had a difficult verb that you wouldn't know offhand. This, I would think, would be a great one to have in your bucket of 3 to look up. People were warned to avoid cualquier viaje, any unnecessary trips. Okay. But the instaron would have been one of the things I would say, I'm going to take this out for my bucket of 3 because it would be a difficult thing to guess. La isla mediterránea no fue la única. No fue la única. It was not the only part of Spain affected. Con temperaturas de hasta menos 1.7 grados Fahrenheit registradas el lunes. So that, they noted that on Monday. En la provincia nororiental. Oriental is east. Nororiental makes it northeast, yeah. Leída en la península española. Según just means according to. According to, they're going to tell who they're quoting, right? Mallorca normalmente experimenta. It normally experiences inviernos suaves.
Mild.
Mild, yeah. Suave es soft, como suave, sí, suave, soft. So here, instead of really, soft, mild, we would say mild because we're talking about winter. Invierno suave, so mild winters, and they list what the temperatures are, con temperaturas entre 46 y 54 grados, según la Oficina de Turismo de la isla, y lluvias torrenciales y repentinas son comunes en otoño e invierno. So torrential rains and repeated rains are common in autumn and winter. Okay. So you may get some heavy rains. Las fuertes nevadas son raras. Strong snowstorms or strong snowfall is a rare occurrence, okay? Pero no desconocidas, but not
unknown.
Not unknown, or we would say not unheard of. Yeah, okay. Conocer, to know of something. So when we put a des in front of it, it makes it a negative. Not known, they're not unknown. Los casos notables incluyen 7 días de nieve en 1956 y 2 días en 2012. So they do sometimes get snowy days, but wow, look at that span, 1956 y 2020. So not, not consecutive years for sure. Okay. Ahmed dijo que la ola de frío, the cold wave, fue causada por una masa de aire muy frío del Ártico. And I want you to notice this because we're going to take some time to talk about this in the next few sessions. Fue causada was caused. And here's our word by. It is that word por. Por has many, many meanings, and it might, we saw it earlier as a because of word, and here it means by. This kind of writing, fue causada por, is what gets us English speakers actually into a bad spot in Spanish. This fue causada por is actually a true passive voice. The cold wave was caused. We're not saying the cold wave caused snow. I mean, we are, but that's not what the sentence says. Passive voice means the subject, ola de frío, is not actually doing that action of fue causada. An agent something else actually does that causing business. Yeah. And here is the agent, a mass of cold air. And this will be a little more apparent when you see other examples, if not tonight, then next week. Okay. Passive voice means, whoever we have as a subject isn't actually doing the action of the verb. That's what the passive means. Okay. That the subject of the sentence is being acted upon by an outside force, by something else. And this thing here of fue causada por is actually seen in writing, in news stories, but in typical conversation, not so much. Not so much. So keep it in mind. And the reason I say this is a problem is that it's considered to be an appropriate thing for formal speeches, for writing, but in everyday chit chat, people don't say it very much in a conversational tone.
So Marilyn, is that the past participle
It
thing?
is. And we'll talk about that later. It is. And this is a structure, the highlighted one that you see is the one that causes us trouble. And here's why it causes us trouble. English uses passive voice a lot. A lot. We love it. We bathe in it. English, to be honest, overuses passive tense. The storm was caused by an Arctic blast. Okay. The building was constructed by, the building didn't build a thing. The building can't do building. Yeah. The building can't do construction. The building was built. Building didn't build anything, didn't construct anything. Yeah. As a matter of fact, there are some business people who have to run their business reports through, I kid you not, software that advises them take out all this passive voice. Because English, we use it a lot, but it is kind of frowned upon in certain circumstances, and others it's perfectly appropriate. Yeah. So just know in Spanish, in written speech, A-OK under the right circumstances, because it's kind of formal, but in conversation, you will not hear it very much at all. El cambio climático ha alterado la frecuencia de los patrones de nieve. Climatic change, or climate change, has altered, so has changed the frequency of snow patterns, ¿sí? Y otros fenómenos meteorológicos and other meteorological phenomena, ¿sí? Extremos, extreme ones. En los últimos años, they tell us when, in the last few years, yeah? En los últimos años. La investigación publicada en 2021. Uno and publicada is just telling that the investigation was published. Yeah. Publicada is talking about this word investigación. The investigation didn't publish. An investigation doesn't do an action. It just is there. Yeah. But it's a published report, ¿sí? En 2021 sobre los Estados Unidos, Europa y otras regiones del hemisferio norte encontró que las temperaturas cambiantes en el Ártico, que es el parte del planeta que se calienta más rápido, están provocando cambios en la atmósfera. And wow, that is a great big long sentence. So that is basically saying that this investigation done in the US and Europe, northern part of Europe, in the northern hemisphere, found that temperatures that are changing in the Arctic. Yeah. And it's the part of the planet that is warming up the fastest, are producing changes in the atmosphere. These things are producing changes in the atmosphere que permiten que las ráfagas de aire polar viajan hacia el sur más a menudo. Here's we got that a menudo phrase, that often phrase. So these wind patterns permit ráfagas, strong winds, so gusting winds of polar air to travel towards the south more frequently, más a menudo, more frequently. Una tendencia similar apunta Miguel Salamanca. And here apunta means points out. Miguel Salamanca points out a tendency. See? And they tell who he is. He's a meteorologist and co-author of a recent book about snow. Advierte que la nieve en Baleares pasará de ser una curiosidad como lo es ahora a ser excepcional. He warns that snow in the Baleares, and that means the islands that are Mallorca, Menorca, and Ibiza, because it's a group of 3 islands, and they together are known as the Baleares. He warns that it will come to be a curiosity, or will pass from being a curiosity as it is now to being exceptional. So because of climate change, you will see this even less, even though it's rare now, it will be even more rare. And todo apunta a que la nieve en el Mediterráneo en general y en Baleares en particular va a disminuir. Everything points to snow in the Mediterranean in general and in the Balearic Islands in particular is going to disminuir, diminish,
Decrease.
disminuir, decrease, diminish, right? Sí, exacto. Entre un 20 y un 50%, 20 to 50% a finales de ese siglo, 20 to 50% down in this century, sí, siglo, century. Okay. Estamos casi al fin. Se espera que el cambio climático tenga otros efectos. It is expected that climate change is probably going to have other effects on the islands. Con un estudio sobre los impactos, study on the impacts of climate change that projects change that include what things? What's included in the list of things?
Higher temperatures.
Higher temperatures. ¿Qué más? Another thing?
Heat waves.
Yeah, heat waves, olas de calor. Olas we usually think of with el mar, the sea, yeah, but olas can be used for heat waves or cold waves, right, as well. Una reducción en la precipitación promedio.
Reduction in the average precipitation.
A reduction in average precipitation. And that word promedio just means average. Promedio. Okay, promedio. It's a very mathematical kind of word, average. Y un aumento en el nivel del mar. And
increase in the level of the sea.
Increase in the sea level. Nivel is the level, right? Okay. Otras partes del mundo también han experimentado condiciones climáticas extremas en los últimos meses. So other parts of the world have also experienced extreme climatic changes in the last few months, not years, months, meses. Incluido el verano más cálido registrado en Europa el año pasado, including the hottest registrado. So the hottest one recorded. Yeah. Registrado is recorded. The hottest summer recorded in Europe last year. Incendios forestales en Chile.
Mhm.
Forest
Yeah.
fires.
Right. Y nieve en el sur de California. Y
Yeah,
sí,
snow in Southern
porque-
California.
porque nevó en Los Ángeles, en San Diego, ¿no?
Sí, San Bernardino, sí.
Sí, ay, qué locura. Qué locura. Está bien. Okay. So a lot of that you can get from just how it's, how the words are used, but okay. Bueno, you'll get another very different article. It's going to be a little bit longer. Pero vale la pena. I'm going to say you probably need more than 3 words, but don't look up more than 6. And that's only because the number of pages is longer. I may try to cut it down, edit it a little bit for length to make it a little bit easier to go through. Y no se trata del clima. Se trata de otra cosa que está pasando en el mundo entero. Okay. Pero más tarde, later on for that, that'll be your homework. ¿Alguna pregunta sobre los videos? Do you have any questions on the 2 videos before we go to finishing up our little pictures? Y los videos eran, sí, de la película, de los Oscar, de los premios Oscar, sí. And this second one was sort of the Hola Pobre.
I got most.
The poor girl. I'm going to see if you understood what was going on with this poor girl, because I made that one kind of optional for people. Pero esto, ¿alguna pregunta de la película? Any questions about that film? They did have the translations, so I assume you figured out what it meant.
That was a good video, and I like that. I'm going to pay attention to who wins the foreign flick. Yeah.
Sí. Bien.
Yeah.
This is a time that is very, very much still talked about because it was a very traumatic time. Many people just disappeared. Very, very traumatic time for Argentina. The junta taking over in those years. Many people who just were made to disappear, wink, wink, in a very bad way, never heard from again. And many, many movies. As the Civil War for Spaniards is a very cathartic and emotionally heartrending period of time, that period of time is for the Argentines. So having that trial having taken place in their own country is something that's was a healing part of the healing process. Very, very difficult thing. Okay. Bien. Sí, dime.
One thing we did is try to pay attention to the preterite and the imperfect being used. And it seems, and you said you were going to get into this, that the habían were used with the past perfect tense.
Yeah. So there are a number of things. She actually has a lot of even passive voice in that.
Mm-hmm.
So that is a topic. I think I'm only going to give you like the little tip of the iceberg for that. But the tip of the iceberg.
Is that still considered imperfect because they're using había and habían, or is it considered the past perfect tense?
Okay. That is considered a past perfect tense, not imperfect. If you have había with a past participle, it's like saying in English that the judges had ruled in favor of somebody, had ruled.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, when you see había with a past participle, it'll be past perfect.
Okay.
Which means we have to use 2 verbs together to make that structure. Okay. So it's like saying, if I took the verb llamar, por ejemplo, And I said, mi hija me llamó. Mi hija me llamó. My daughter
Called me.
called me. Okay, that's just simple past. Mi hija me llamó. But if I want to kick that action of llamó even further back, more distant past, I could change it into mi hija me había llamado. Me había llamado, had called me. It's still past. It's just booting it further back, as if it were a timeline. So there was some of that, and there was some passive voice stuff going on as well. So now the closed captions did all the translating for you.
Yeah.
So we'll probably take a few things from that to show in particular where they were, and I should have put down my time markers. So I think I may need to do that this coming week. So, okay. But we'll come back to that. We are going to talk about that those little participle words can cause real problems because they have different jobs, and the job the past participle will have depends on what kind of word you're hooking it up with. Okay. So it can be kind of a get into the weeds process. We're only going to take like the little tip of the iceberg of it tonight. Okay, bien. Pero, ¿entendieron? Did anybody have any trouble understanding what this poor girl was ranting about? That
She
was a
didn't
way
like
more
getting hit
fun.
on.
Right.
Yeah.
She was complaining about being hit on, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Being
We
hit
got
on.
that idea. I'm not sure I got the translation.
I wrote her notes. I have, because I have children in my 20s, I hear these kinds of complaints in my household.
Basically, what she's saying is that you can't have a male friend
Oh,
as a friend.
Yeah.
That's what I
They wanted to be a boyfriend. They didn't want to be a friend.
when Harry met Sally, and she's got a kind of a very delicate reference to amigos con privilegios. So friends with benefits. Yeah, con beneficios, friends with benefits. People who hook up but aren't a couple. Well, it may as well be you because we're friends. Yeah, that kind of. And she's like, no, la pobre, poor girl. By the end, she's pleading, oh, please tell me you can actually have a friend who is a male and is just a friend. La pobre, pero entendieron. You got the gist. See? Bien, okay, vale.
No, I happened to read the comments that people wrote underneath it because I was just curious what people said. And there was some male, and I don't remember because it was a few days ago, said it's impossible for him to be a friend to a female. If he, liked the female, he couldn't be her friend.
Seriously, welcome to the 21st century. Come on.
Yeah, really.
Siempre es así. Siempre ha sido así. It has always been like this. It has always been like siempre ha sido así. It has been ha sido. Siempre ha sido así. It has always been like this.
I think she was also saying that when she says no, they don't believe her. They don't think no means no. I'm not sure that's what she said, but it sounded like this.
They sort of try to convince her, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That I could see.
And you could see she was talking about, the body language. Oh, gets close to me and he's touching me. And like,
My eyes.
no. Although on the other hand, from the guy's point of view, you got to start somewhere, right? I mean, come on. It's difícil. I feel for guys, and you ask somebody out. It's hard. Es difícil. pero muy interesante. Very, very interesting. Okay. So let's do some simple past. We're going to finish up with some of these pictures that we had from last week that we didn't finish with. Y tenemos como 4 o 5 fotos. We've got about 4 or 5 photos to go through. Pueden ver las fotos. Can you see our fotos? Sí, bien. Tengo que engrandecer. I need to make these a little bit bigger. Okay. And you may need to look up some words for these. You may not know how to say ski, but you could say exercise outdoors in the cold. There are workarounds you can do. If you don't know all the vocabulary, there are still things you can do. Y hablamos aquí de la llanta pinchada. We talked about the flat tire last week. Entonces, if we talk about this photo, esta foto, if we talk about this photo, en el pasado, what are some past ideas using just pretérito? Don't worry about that past perfect business, just pretérito or imperfecto. We might use imperfecto to describe things in this picture too. ¿Qué podemos decir? What can we use to talk about this in the past?
Hacía un día frío con mucho nieve. Yo tuve mi esquís y esquií por muchas horas.
Okay, bien. So let's make these maybe a little bit simpler. Hacía
I'm wordy even in Spanish. I'm wordy even in Spanish.
So, yeah, try to make your idea as the least complicated possible. I know in the article you're reading, they get into some long, snaggly sentences, but speaking in a conversational way, it's best to keep it short. Yeah. So, hacía mucho frío. Hacía mucho frío. How would we say it snowed? Simplemente it snowed.
Nevó.
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 Perfecto. Hacía mucho frío. It was very cold. Y nevó. Y nevó. Y fui a esquiar.
I went skiing.
Fui a esquiar por muchas horas. Por un par de horas. ¿Sí? Bien.
Could you say, if you wanted to say, I got my skis, I had my skis, would it be yo tuve mi skis? Because it's an action?
No. Tomé. Sí. Tomé los esquíes, sí, para salir afuera.
Went outside.
Sí, bien. Tomar, took, right?
So
tuve would mean I got. So if you got skis as a Christmas gift, tuve would be fine, okay? I could say tenía. I had them.
Okay.
I had them, but I took them. That'll be tomar.
Okay. So tuve is like the one time I got it. I got this.
Correcto. That it's something you received from somebody.
Okay.
Bien, sí.
Okay. Gracias.
Okay. A ver. Okay. Algo más. Anything else?
I had that he was cross-country skiing, so I said, un hombre ha estado esquiando a campo traviesa. Is that right?
Okay. Yeah. There's not a one verb kind of setup for cross-country skiing. But they do use this verb here, esquiar.
That's what I thought.
So in our effort to make it as easy as possible. Let's just take that verb we start with, esquiar. Let's turn it into a past idea. And you might make it descriptive with imperfecto. You might make it true past with pretérito.
I did that.
Either might be okay. I could say he skied or he was skiing, and both would be okay.
SKE? SKE?
Esquiar would make it
esquió.
for yo, right?
Well,
Let's say
oh,
we're
he,
talking about the
oh,
man, el hombre.
Oh,
El hombre
el hombre.
esquió.
esquió en el bosque. Es un bosque, ¿no?
Sí.
Es un bosque. Ok, el
Ok.
hombre esquió en el bosque.
Could we say sin montañas if it's cross country and not going down hills?
Sí sería posible. Hay un término y tengo que buscar otra vez. I need to look it up one more time because you just don't hear a lot of cross-country ski talk, do you? Certainly in Spain. Pero, por ejemplo, esquiar por terreno. Bien, por ejemplo, sí, esquí de fondo. Esquí de fondo. El hombre esquió de fondo. De fondo. But if you said en el bosque, everybody would get the idea pretty fast, right?
That's
It would be por las montañas or en las montañas if it were downhill.
Mhm.
Okay.
Así es, ¿sí? It would also be okay if you want to put it as a descriptive thing to say, él esquiaba en el bosque mientras nevaba. He was skiing while it was
No.
snowing. In which case, that's much more so a descriptive thing, saying that both of these activities were going on same time, simultaneously. Okay.
You're missing an S in the first two verbs up there. You have, do you see? For the esquiar.
Esquiaba.
No, up a higher when you first wrote them. You don't fui
Aquí.
up again, up.
Up again.
Oh, the
Oh,
first
SKR,
sentence.
we are
You're just missing the
SKR.
S.
The
No.
first sentence.
The- the
Oh,
first-
aquí.
That's all.
Perdón. Gracias.
And above
Gracias.
that. That's all.
Gracias.
Just so it's correct.
Bien, es que, gracias. S, ¿dónde está la S? Where's the S? ¿Dónde está la S? Okay, so, esquiaba en el bosque mientras nevaba. I'm saying those two things went on at the same time. Now, let's switch this idea a little bit and see how it changes the meaning in a very subtle way. Esquiaba en el bosque
Mhm.
cuando empezó a nevar.
Oh, again, it's
Mhm.
How does that slightly change the idea?
snow started.
It's
Yeah,
still past
started.
idea.
The snow's just started.
Yeah.
The snow has just started. And how do we know the snow just started?
Past tense. I mean,
Empezó.
better.
Empezó a nevar. And what tense did I put that into?
Better.
Pretérito. So now I've got he was skiing, the esquiaba part, right? When empezó a nevar. It started to snow. And we flip that into pretérito to say it happened in the middle of his skiing activity. Bien?
Mhm.
Bien? Okay.
Sí.
A ver. Pero entienden, you understand how these two things they can coexist, but they mean different things. Okay. Dos fotos más. Let's take a look at two more photos here.
Okay.
any description of what you see in the pictures. But let's look at this picture first. Esta foto primero. We can describe what the weather was doing, what somebody was doing, what somebody had.
I can, you want me to read something? I'll read
Sí.
what I wrote. Don't know if
Okay.
it's- I said, hacía tanto frío afuera que me quedé adentro y lié.
Okay. Hacía tanto frío afuera. It was very cold outside. It was so cold. Tanto frío. ¿Sí? Bien.
And I
Y,
s- That's why I stayed inside, but do I put a K there? or
y me quedé.
Me quedé.
Me
adentro?
quedé.
Okay,
Me quedé. And now we have to tell where.
inside, adentro. is what I-
Adentro, adentro o en casa.
En
Sí.
casa.
Adentro. Adentro está bien. Adentro.
Okay.
Inside also works.
Okay.
Sí, okay. Vale, bueno.
Y leí, how do you say it? Leí
Leí, I read, okay.
un book. Oh, un libro.
Leí un libro,
That's all.
okay. Y quizás, tomé una taza de chocolate caliente. Sí, chocolate caliente
Mhm.
o café o lo que sea, bien, sí. Okay. Otra idea. Any other idea about that? Sí o no?
Summer Ellen, I have a question on hacía tanto frío. It's incorrect to put the adjective afuera before hacía.
Oh. Maybe. I could.
Oh, could you take this word and lead off the whole sentence with that?
Correct.
Sí, es
Maybe.
posible. Afuera, afuera, outside, afuera, hacía tanto frío.
Okay.
Hacía mucho frío. Sí. Se puede cambiar el orden de la palabra afuera. Es posible. Es posible, ¿sí? O hacía mucho frío. O llovía. It was doing what?
It's raining.
It was raining. Llovía. See, it was raining, but that's if I'm describing it, right? Llovía y llovía. It was raining and it was raining. Okay. Y tenemos todo lo opuesto aquí. We've got all the exact opposite thing here, aquí. ¿Cómo podemos describir la segunda foto con los tiempos pasados? How can we describe the second one in it with past ideas? Es todo lo opuesto. It's the exact opposite kind of weather, right? ¿Sí?
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice? It was nice weather.
Mm,
It was good weather.
Hacía, I don't know, muy bien, muy bueno.
Buen
Yeah.
Buen
Hacía
tiempo.
buen día.
Buen tiempo.
Buen
Hacía
tiempo.
buen tiempo. Hacía buen tiempo. Sí. Por ejemplo, hacía calor. Sí.
Ujú.
Hacía sol
Mhm.
en la playa.
Sí.
Sí. Ok. Bien. Vale, bueno. No había ni una nube en el cielo. No había ni una nube. There wasn't even,
Cloud in the sky.
sí, no había ni una nube o no había ni siquiera. No había ni siquiera una nube en el cielo. ¿Bien?
Sí.
Excelente. Bueno, ¿otras ideas de la gente o de algo así o no? Anything else? ¿Algo más? ¿No? Ok. Siguiente. 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 We'll finish these up. Tenemos celebraciones. We could describe just the setting of the scene. If we describe what this tent looked like, would we be more likely to use imperfecto or pretérito to talk about this tent picture, just this one?
Imperfecto.
Imperfecto.
Imperfecto. Because if we're describing what this looked like, it's more appropriate to use imperfecto. Now, of course, there may be an exception depending on what idea you want to say. But, por ejemplo, if you said something like, somebody turned on the light, then that would be acción. But if you just describe the color or what it looked like or what was there, what kind of stuff was there, you're going to stick completely to imperfecto. So what might we say with this?
Eran mesas formales, there were formal tables.
Their word is going to have to be había.
I'm sorry.
Sí, había mesas, mesas grandes.
Okay.
Sí, había mesas grandes, sí, formales, de banqueta. Sí, bien, sí. Había mesas grandes. ¿Y qué más? What else might we say?
Las luces eran hermosas.
Las luces eran hermosas. Las luces eran hermosas. Oh, the lights were beautiful. Las luces eran hermosas. I might say, estaba de noche. Estaba de noche. It was at
night.
Estaba de noche. Sí. Okay. Bien. Okay. ¿Algo más? ¿O no?
No. Estaba en el campo. If it's out, if it's, in the country.
Estaba en el campo. Quizás en un parque. No sabemos. Sí, exactamente. Bien. Ok. Vale. Bueno, sí. Estaba al aire libre. Estaba al aire libre.
Oh, open air. Yeah.
It was where? It was
Outdoors.
outdoors. Estaba al aire libre. Podemos decir la tienda blanca estaba al aire libre. La tienda blanca. Tienda here does not mean a store. It means a
tent.
tent.
Oh, okay.
Sí, la tienda blanca estaba al aire libre. ¿De qué color? ¿De?
Blanco.
Blanca, la tienda blanca. It was a white tent, right? La tienda blanca estaba al aire libre. Okay. Bien. Let me give you a quick preview to words you're going to see next week. La tienda blanca fue decorada por la familia de la novia. La tienda blanca fue decorada por la familia de la novia.
The white tent was decorated for the bride's family.
By the bride's family. Sí, por.
Yeah.
So here's what happens here. This action of decorada, oh no, it is a passive. The tent didn't decorate a stinking thing, right? But it was decorated, and somebody else, an outside agent, did the decorating. So this is our reason for using this thing called passive voice. The people who actually did the decorating, the people who actually did the decorating were the
bride's family.
Bride's family.
If I said for that, and then if para was there, then it would have been for the bride's family.
Ah, exacto. Exacto. Muy bien, muy bien. So if it was decorated for them, yeah, it would have been para, meaning that they are going to, you know, take this tent over and use it. Okay. Bien. Okay. But that is what we call a true passive voice. Okay. Bien. All right. Let's take a look. Vamos a ver. Let's take a look at our second foto, la segunda foto, la última foto, our last photo. Uy, momentito. Okay, mejor. What might we say? Now, here we might talk more about events. What happened? Es una boda. Es la foto de una boda, ¿verdad?
Mhm.
Okay. ¿Qué podemos decir? What could we say happened here? We could say people came to the wedding. We could say the couple got married. We could describe it. There are many things we could do, but there are more actions we can talk about in this picture than in the first, because you don't really see any people doing stuff in the first picture, right? This one, we have people actually there. So what might we say here?
I just wrote el novio perdió el anillo. And I thought I was writing, he forgot the ring. So
Ah,
add a little emotion to it.
el novio, the groom did what?
Perdió, forgot, left,
Oh, perdió, lost.
lost.
Perdió el anillo. Pobre hombre. Ay, sí, el pobre. El novio perdió el anillo de su propia boda, his own wedding. Guy, qué lío, what a mess. Qué lío. Okay. ¿Cómo se dice they got married? Los novios
Se casaron.
se casaron. Se casaron, ¿sí? Se casaron al aire libre. They got married not in a church, but
Outside. open air.
outside. Los novios se casaron al aire libre. Sí. Muchos invitados. What can we say about many guests?
I thought that was the wedding party.
But that is the wedding party. See?
It's huge. How do you say that? It was a huge wedding party.
Había mucha gente. Sí. Había mucha. Well, let's pare it down to something really simple. Había mucha gente. Sí. Que asistió. There were many people who attended, or maybe que asistía, could really go either way. Sí, bien. Okay. A ver, for bridal party, we can't really use fiesta party. Yeah. Bridal party talks about the people who are standing up with them, right?
Mhm.
For the ceremony. So there are special words for that. And the words are, and you'll be able to know which ones they belong to, madrina and padrino. These words mean godmother and godfather, but they are also used to talk about the people who stand up at your wedding as the special witnesses, right? Groomsmen and
Bridesmaid.
your bridesmaids, right? So even though madrina means a godmother, in this context, it means the gal who's also holding flowers behind the bride, right? Bridesmaids, see? So había muchos padrinos
Okay.
y muchas
Madrinas.
madrinas, ¿sí? ¿Bien?
Bien.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to say.
Una cantidad enorme, ¿sí? If you got that many groomsmen, I hope that's a bit, sí. Y había mucha gente, and likely there were a lot of people as well. Okay, bien. Vale, bueno, pero entienden, you understand, ¿sí? Would it help for you to have some more pictures to think about past tense for next week?
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
Otras fotos. Okay. I will send you a list in the big email with some new pictures to think about new things. And I want you to think about how we can mix up pretérito to talk about events and imperfecto to talk about descriptions. Okay. I want you to just think about those two tenses and keep it super simple. Yeah. Super simple. Bien. I am going to send you an article. I think I'm going to edit it down because it is longish. It talks about immigration from a totally different point of view than you have probably thought of in the past. And that's all I'm going to say. So I'll leave it as a little teaser there. Bien. We'll give you an article. I'm going to pare it down a little bit to make it just a touch easier to read. Y también habrá otro video. I'm going to pick another short video. I haven't decided which video yet, but we'll take a quick look at these little words that are participles and how sometimes they're really describing words. So I'm going to back and note in check out that Argentina movie, that 1985. Sí, 1985. Check it out again and write down every time you see an ado, ADO, or an IDO word. Just make notes of how many times you see those kinds of words where you kind of know she's talking about the past, but how do these fit together? And we'll kind of break that down into something that's maybe a little more digestible because she used a few different structures there that were definitely more complicated than your standard pretérito and imperfecto. Okay. Although for your purposes, pretérito and imperfecto is what you want to use in conversation more. Okay, bien?
Bien.
Sí.
Sí.
¿Todo bien?
Gracias.
Okay. Excelente. De nada. Es un placer. And